So this is Walnut's Bojangles, and I need to pull his tail hairs. He is already registered, but I want to know if he carries red. And so I'm going to pull his tail hairs and send them in and have him tested to see if he carries red. A lot of my girls are red, so when he grows up to be a big boy and breed, I want to know if he carries red as a possibility, because right now he is homozygous dun, so he'll throw dun or black calves. So I'm going to show you how to pull tail hairs. Now, not all your calves are going to be this easy to go over and grab their tail hairs, but Mr. Bojangles is used to his tail being brushed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a few pinches of hair. This is maybe 10 or 15 hairs. When I pull this, he's probably not going to like it. So I'm going to pull it, and when I do, I'm going to rip it upwards. So you want those hair follicles. So I'm going to go quickly like that. And I got about that many hairs. So you can see I got all those, and there's follicles on there. I'm going to go grab some more because this isn't quite enough that the lab would need. So I'm going to go back over, brush his tail again a little bit so he doesn't think I'm just out here yanking his hair. It's like, oh, it's all good. He's licking his lips. He's okay. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to get down deep into the follicles again. I'm going to grab another swipe. Okay. So now I have, he's a bigger calf, so now I have quite a few tail hairs, and I'm going to have all these little follicles on the end here, and I want to kind of keep them close to the end. I don't want to mix them up with the tail end hairs. So now I have my hair sample for the lab. So now you have your tail hairs, and what you're going to want to do, this is what I do just to avoid any confusion. I have them bunched up. I have the follicles on one end. Sometimes I put a little kind of loop in it to keep them from sliding around. And then I put a piece of Scotch tape, not on the follicles, but toward the middle. And I like to tape it to a piece of paper. And then what I want to do is write his name on here and his dam and his sire and his color and his gender, just so it does not get confused at the lab. And a lot of times I'll write the date of birth when I'm getting them parent verified. Since Bojangles is already registered and I just want him to tested for red, I just wrote his name and his ADCA number and his accession number from Texas A&M and his date of birth and his color and what I want. I'm now going to show you what you do on an unregistered calf. But this is just because I wanted additional testing on this particular calf, and this is what you do. If he was at UC Davis, then this would be a DEX number, which I will show you. This belongs to a 4-month-old heifer. This will be Lone Star Firecracker. So I got her follicles on this one end. I'm gonna go ahead and Scotch tape it to this paper. In the middle, there we go. And she is not registered. So what am I going to do? Because she is not registered, what will I write on here? Well, I'm going to write what I want to name her. The sire and dam of Lone Star Firecracker were originally both at UC Davis. So I wrote the sire on here, Cascades Gold Rush, and the dam, Steamboat Fancy Patriot. And I need to know what lab they were at. So they were at UC Davis. And how do you know what lab your animal's sire and dam are at? Well, you will get a paper, hopefully from your seller. This would be a UC Davis paper. And see how you can see it's a DEX number? UC Davis. This is what you do if you're registering with UC Davis. This is the number you would write down for the parent. And same thing for the sire, that's the dam, and then this is the sire. Gold Rush, there's his DEX number. If they're at A&M, for instance, this is Bojangles, he would have this number up here, it's a session number. This is Texas A&M lab. So you need to know what lab your animals were registered at. Well, I've been doing this for a while, and my animals are now at UC Davis and Texas A&M. So I had all mine transferred to A&M from UC Davis. I followed this link. It says we can import your UC Davis reports for $5. What I did, this is from Texas A&M. This is from Josephina at A&M. So what I did is I scanned all of my papers into her with the parent verification and paid the $5 online and transferred them to A&M. So therefore, now that they're at A&M, I just need to write their ADCA number on here if they don't have an accession number. So I just write the ADCA number and ID, left ear. How did I come up with this? What is this L2P? Well, there's two ways to identify your cows for registration. One way, which is what I do, is the tattooing. And this is under the website where you go to, here I'll go back so you can tell where this came from. So when you're on the ADCA website, you want to go to registration and transfers and you scroll down, you can go to where it says tattooing and lettering. So you're going to click on that link. Here is tattoo letter guidelines. Click on that link and this pops up. So for the year 2026, it is the letter P. So how did I get, L2P? Well, my prefix is Lone Star, so I use the L. She was the second calf born in 2026, so I have a 2. And then P is because that's the Dexter ADCA letter for the year of 26. So her ear tattoo is L2P, and that is what is in her ear for her tattoo. Now, if I didn't want to use a tattoo, you can go to the Texas Animal Health Commission and get free tags if you're in Texas anyhow. And they will send you free tags. So if you are getting an RFD tag right here, I can send you the link. It's also been included many times on my emails. You'll get this tag. And if you're gonna do the tag, we could show you a picture of one, you're going to wanna write only the last 6 numbers. So you would write the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on your tag. You don't need to write the other 840, 00, all that. So your permanent ID, if you're gonna use these tags on your 840 tag, will be the last 6 numbers if you choose that. But you have to have a permanent ID. These are the only 2 forms of permanent ID you can have, is the 840 tag or the tattoo. No other tag is acceptable when you register your calf, and that is very important. You have to have that. So now that you have the ID for your calf, now we want to go, you can look at the genetics and labs. You can click that link. If you're not sure how to use it, you're going to click that link. And that's going to bring you to the genetics and labs. What you're going to do is, this is the UC Davis website link. This is the instructions on how to do it. This is the Texas A&M one. This is how you pay online. Here's a VGL adding parentage instructions. This is how to new parent verification request. So I normally just use either the UC Davis website if I'm going to do a Texas UC Davis animal, or I'm going to use the A&M lab form instructions. So if I click the lab form instructions, this is what you get. With A&M or UC Davis, the only thing you have to have to register your calf is the genotyping parent verification, which is $30. It's the only thing you have to have. The other tests are all optional. If you already have parents that are homozygous for the A2, then if they're homozygous A2, you don't need this test. If they're homozygous negative chondroplasia or homozygous PHA, which a lot of them are, you don't need that test. Color tests are optional. Like I said, I'm gonna do the red color on my calf because I wanna know if he's red. And I also wanna know if he carries wild red or just regular red or any red at all. He might not carry none. So you can choose these different tests. The polled or horn test, if your animal is out of 2 homozygous polled sire and dams, you do not need the poll test. But again, all these tests are optional to register your calf except for parent verification. The parent verification, the genotype, is the only test you have to register your calf. The other things are just kind of fun and nice to know. They do offer bundles. I believe UC Davis offers bundles too, where you can get things bundled together. The only thing that's never offered in a bundle is your beta casein test and your parent verification test. So if you want the beta casein, which is the A2 milk gene, you have to order that one separately. All right, so if your parents are at UC Davis and you want to register them at UC Davis, you're going to click that. And I already have a UC Davis porthole, so I've already made an account, but you'll need to make an account. The instructions are on the website here, where it tells you how to make one. So on my account, if I want to order tests, I'm going to go to the cattle to order tests. And this is where I'm going to write my calf's name in. My calf does not have a registration number, so that would be pending. I'd fill in the rest of the things, the sex, date of birth, a breed, that'd be Dexter. You scroll down to Dexter. You don't have to worry about that, it's 100% pure. Horn, if your calf is polled, put polled. If it's horn, put horn. If you're not sure, just leave unknown. Because sometimes when they're little, you can't tell if they're horned or not. You could put the color in. This is where the tattoo would be. So I would put L2P if I was registering this calf in UC Davis. All right, and then you're gonna scroll down and you're going to, okay, this is the agent information. If you have bought a herd of cattle that already had calves that are not registered, you cannot register them because you are not the first owner. You have to fill the affidavit out online with Texas saying with the ADCA to have that done. So that would be if you were an agent. So most of you should be the owner, so you shouldn't have to fill that part out. So the test that you have to have is the parent verification. So you need the parent verification. Then the other tests are optional. I usually do the A2 test. I like that one. I will do the polled test. And I will do the red-black test. And I will do the done test. Those are the tests I usually like having done. I don't always do them all because I don't always need them, or if I know one's homozygous, I won't have to do that, but those are the tests I do. On the calf naming, if the cow was pregnant when you got her and she had the calf, you have to use the breeder you bought her from's breeder prefix, not your own. You don't use your own breeder prefix. So if I bought this calf from Rocking Star, the mama would have to be called Rocking Star, and then I'd put the name. But if the cow was bred on my place, then I'd put Lone Star because mine is Lone Star. For example, when I first bought a cow that was pregnant and I went to register her calf, I did not know this. So when I registered at UC Davis, I sent her name in as Lone Star Fancy Patriot because the calf was born in my place. And I did that for the genetic testing. I named it with my breeder prefix, which is Lone Star. When I went to register her, I was corrected, and her name is actually Steamboat Fancy Patriot. So her name is not Lone Star because she was actually bred by the breeder, and so their name is on there. So if your cow came to you pregnant, you need to use your breeder's prefix. So mine was Steamboat. So then I had to go back to UC Davis actually and change the, where is it again? The Lone Star to Steamboat. So it'd be correct in their records. So after I add up all these tests that I want to do, if you look down at the bottom of the page, it says all tests are $125. Well, by the time I do all these other tests, even though I don't need the chondro and the PHA, I might as well just do the all test for $125. So that's what we're gonna do with Lone Star Firecracker. We're just gonna refill out this side and what we wanted to do. And so the cost, I'm just gonna write the $125 to do every test. And the chondroplasia and PHA are just kind of thrown in there as a bonus. So then I wrote Walnuts Bojangles down there, and he is just getting the red-black test for $25. And then I have Lone Star Excalibur, And he has the pulled test, and I wrote NA. Lone Star Excalibur was already tested as hetero-polled, but he has skurs. They're very tiny, but just to make sure they are skurs and not actual horns, we're retesting him for free, so I'm just sending in his hairs again to have him checked. He will be a steer, but I like to have them all checked anyway. So on the other paper from Texas A&M, I have written down Firecracker's name. She does not have a registration number. She's her date of birth, her tattoo. She's a female. The sire, his ADCA number. The dam, her ADCA number. Again, ADCA is their registration number. You do not need their accession numbers for the Texas A&M to register the babies if they're already at A&M. So you just write their number down. You can write their registration numbers, or you can write their accession numbers, and then the test I wanted. And then there is Bojangles and all his information, and red and black. And then there is Excalibur, all his information, and the poll test. These two guys are already registered, so they do have registration numbers. We're just doing other tests. Again, A&M, you can use their ADCA number when asked for sire's number and their name. You do not have to use the accession number, but you can use the accession number. Either way will work. All right, now that I have all my written forms filled out, I'm going to TAMU online payment. I'm gonna click on that. This is where it can get a little confusing because you're not exactly sure how to fill this out. I understand. So I'm going to go to cattle selection. I'm gonna do the genotype A2 bundle 11. So all of that. So that's gonna come up there as what I'm ordering. I'm gonna put my name in here. All right, so I put my name in here. I put my calf's name in here, Lone Star Firecracker, all the information, and I added it to my cart. Now I want to order the red test only for Mr. Bojangles. So I'm gonna click that one. And I'm going to change the name this time to Walnuts Mr. Bojangles here. So Walnuts Bojangles is in there now. So everything else is the same. I'm gonna add that to the cart. So now I have two things in the cart. I have the red and black with his name, and I have the other whole testing with her name, Firecracker. Now I'm not gonna add Excalibur because she's retesting him for free. She just asked that I send the email showing that she said she would do that. So I'm just gonna go to my cart, view my cart, and I'm going to pay for it. And once I've paid for it, it will give me a order number. And on that order number is what I have to have a portal, so I have to log in here to the A&M one here. So let's log into that and log in. So I do have all right, now that I figured out my password, that's my order confirmation number, and it's going to go right down here on the bottom where it says online order number. I'm gonna put it right in there. I'm gonna fold up all my little papers with my hair samples and put them in an envelope, and I'm going to mail it to this address right here with the United States Post Office. If you send them UPS or FedEx, this is not the correct address. For some reason, UPS and FedEx don't deliver to this address. So send it United States Post Office mail. If not, and you need the FedEx or UPS address, it's a different address. You can call them and ask for it. I also have it saved in an email from her, so you can always reach out to me and I can give you that correct address. All right, hope this helps y'all. Bye.